Hey guys, happy sip day.
Yeah, what's up? Everybody's got your something to
Unfortunately,
sip
I'm
on?
only sipping on water.
Yeah.
My travel mug. What do you want to talk about today, guys?
I want to talk about retirement savings.
Our favorite topic.
And
Important topic.
so, uh, two things. One is it's important to start sooner, to save sooner, save often. And the other thing is that if keeping in mind what your investment time horizon is to make sure that you have the right investment mix. Um, and I have a little bit of a graphic brought to you by our friends over at JP Morgan to share with you.
I
Um,
love good visuals.
yeah, so we have a couple of different savers here. We have your consistent investor, and this is a look at them saving $200 per month from age of 25 to 65. Then you have a early investor who starts off early, but they're only saving from ages 25 to age 35, so 10 years of savings. You have a late investor who started investing later on from at age 35 to 65. And then we have somebody who's just a consistent saver, but they're maybe a little bit apprehensive to actually make an investment with their dollars into financial markets. They're just keeping their money in cash. And so to the first point of starting early, we see that the consistent investor saves about $96,000 over time, and they were able to get an average return of about 7%. And so over this 40-year period, they turned, under $100,000 of investment to over $500,000 of investment. So this is your A plus student here. They're doing everything right. They're starting off early. They have an investment allocation that could potentially earn 7%, and in this case, it had. Um,
And
and
Skylar,
yes,
this particular investor, so you're saying they invest $200 a month for
hmm
over 40 years. And
yes.
and that investment model, like as they're getting older, is it getting less aggressive as they're getting closer to retirement? And how does that all work?
Well, this is just going to be a hypothetical 7% return.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
so this is not any particular investment that is
Okay.
being looked at, but there are investments out there like target date investment options that do adjust that risk over time. So it starts off being a higher level of risk, and then by the time that you reach the age of retirement, it would be a lower level of investment risk. But you may find over time that you could get an average 7% return in an investment like that.
Gotcha.
Um, and then you have somebody here who saves the same level of money, the same $96,000, the same $200 per month, but they just got they were in the cash account, which got 2.3%, which seems a little bit low relative to like the 4 to 5% that you could get on cash today. This is kind of a higher number than what we've seen over the past years, where you were lucky to get a 0.5% or 1% in a cash savings account. So, um,
So it would
but a
be
two
safe to
point,
say that this person was kind of like risk averse then because they just preferred to keep it in cash, which was
Yeah,
the biggest option for them.
they did not want to see their money go down in value, so they kept their money in cash and they got what interest that they could, which
Okay.
is a lower rate of return. They got maybe, 2.3% in this example. And even having saved the same exact amount of money because they did not take on any investment risk, they only wound up with about $158,000 versus the 512,000 that they could have. So this people started at the same exact time to save the same exact amount of money. It's just that their level of investment return was drastically different. And the way that you could achieve potentially a 7% return is by investing in ownership of companies and also loans to companies through stocks and bonds, which you have access, a lot of people have access to through mutual funds and what their retirement accounts are. that's a more it's again, this is a hypothetical level of return, but it is a something that it could be achievable by investing in ownership of companies versus keeping your money in cash. And and then we have your early investor who did the same level of investment as the consistent investor, but they stopped after 10 years and they actually did pretty well. They wound up with about $270,000. So they started at the same age, but they only saved for 10 years and they had a pretty good ending balance of 270, which is higher than the person that saved all 40 years. And it's also higher than the person that just waited 10 years and then they saved for another 30 years. So they have triple the level of investment, but they ended up with only $242,000 at the end because that those early years of saving gives you more years of compounding of returns, which enables you to boost your level of financial growth that you might have. So really the important part here is one, that you need to start saving early, but then you also need to be able to put that money to work and have an investment that's going to be able to get you a higher level of return. Because that's going to get you financial freedom and financial success.
Yeah, I mean, $200 doesn't seem like a lot every month. So some people might just be like, what's
Yeah,
$200?
just
That's not going to do
Yeah.
anything for me when you look at the power of saving and
And just
growth.
like consistency, like you have to be consistent in anything to see change. So this just kind of shows like if you just consistently save, you will see results. They may vary, but you will see results.
and
As
that's
we're
really why I like 401k plans because the money comes directly out of your pay before you even get it into your paycheck and is deposited for you and invested for you.
Out of
So
sight, out of mind.
kind
I
of,
love
it
that.
takes it's hard to do a thing sometimes if you have to do it, all
right.
the time, but this is just done automatically for you and help you with good habits to automate things. And if you don't have access to like a 401k plan, then you could set up an IRA and set up or a Roth IRA and set up a systematic contribution from your checking account so that you don't need to physically make those contributions on your own. It's just something that is set up automatically for you.
Yeah, and just as we're coming to the end of the year, can you talk about the limits for contributing into IRAs and so forth?
Yeah, so for a 401k plan now in 2024, it's a 23,000 limit if you're under the age of 50, and there's a $7,500 catch up if you're over the age of 50. So under 50, 23,000, over 50, 30,500, and then for IRAs or Roth IRAs, it's $7,000 of contribution under 50, a $1,000 catch up for a total of 8,000 if you're over the age of 50. And then can't forget about health savings accounts, which have the benefits of Roth IRAs in terms of the tax-free growth, but you also get the tax deduction up front, like with an IRA, is really the best of both worlds. Those you have to be able to contribute or participate in a high deductible health plan, and then the maximum for a family contribution is $8,300, but there's $1,000 catch up if you are age 55 or over for a $9,300 contribution. So really like those HSAs, and they're great for payroll deduction as well. You can avoid the FICA taxes. So
Save,
it
save,
not,
save.
yeah, not only is it not subject to federal and state taxes, but it's also not subject to the FICA taxes. So you get an extra 7.65% of tax savings through the HSA. So these are some concepts for saving and investing and a couple of ways of going about it in tax shelters.
Good stuff.
Thank
All
you for
right.
joining us today on today's weekly step, guys. We'll see you next time.
Take
Yep.
care.
Have a great week.